of the million podcasts out there. We're grateful you chose toilets and titles. We give fantasy football advice to get your crap team to the finals. From Nate's cousin Eddie persona and his unapologetic love for Chubb and Justin's hatred for Chris Ballard, our show is as good as a belly rub. Mark is the best of the NFC West, putting down Penguin Pete with his love for the Rams. Grab a whiskey or a beer, we're glad you're here. Welcome to the family. We'll play for gibberish and rambling. We have recent news and games in a week. We talk PPR and weekly streams. Start them and sit them, keep them or quit them. Hit the like and sub buttons for the fellas. Got any suggestions? Just tell us. Fuck a million podcasts out there.
Okay, it did not say the word that you think it did. It just sounded a lot like it. Welcome to Toilets and Titles. My name's Justin, and I really need to screen these better because that's the second time now that that's happened. But yeah, theme music, gotta love it. You're never gonna guess this one because it's nothing like the category. But obviously, you know what? Okay, what did it sound like to you, Mark?
Do you know the group Falling in Reverse?
No, I don't really listen to music. As you can tell.
Like it's kind of like a monster music, but the guy went kind of rap, so kind of mixed between the two.
Yeah. What do you think, Nate?
It was some sort of metal, but I don't know what.
It was game show.
Game show.
I don't know what kind of game show that is. I don't. It's maybe some Chinese game show.
Weird Family Feud.
All right, but yeah. So we are talking the coaching carousel. It's going on in the NFL this week and last week, pretty much the last couple of weeks, because we didn't hit on the recent news last week, so we do have a couple from last week as well, which is great news for you, Nate, because when you missed last week, you said that sucks because you wanted to comment on my new defensive coordinator. But I might have a little bit of news on that too, Nate and Mark. Highly considering a big switch here. Highly considering throwing away the blue and white. I am completely over the BS. So here's the thing. Like the only thing that's holding me on right now is that I actually really wanted the Colts to go out and hire the former Bengals defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo. When they fired him, I really wanted them to hire him, and they did. And that's the big coach hire that I'm talking about right now. And I'm glad they did. It's definitely what the Colts need. He's a risk taker. They haven't had that in a long time on the defensive side. Probably not since Bill Polian was our GM have we had a risk taker quite like Lou. But also, he doesn't do very well with bad players. And we don't have a lot of bad players, but we don't really have a lot of great players on our defense either, other than maybe Buckner. And Buckner, that last half of the season seemed like he was completely disinterested in the Colts.
I think Zaire Franklin's good. I think you got some talent. I mean, you don't have Trey Hendrickson, but I think you have enough talent to make things work.
Possibly, but I feel like that's what they had in Cincinnati the last couple of years. They had enough here and there to make things work, but they weren't able to do much with it. Now, obviously, when they lost Bates and they lost that secondary over the last 2 years, it looked a lot worse. And I'm not faulting Lou for that one, even though the Bengals obviously did. He kept the same defensive coordinator job for 6 years. You don't do that in the NFL coordinator. So I definitely think that there's possibilities here. But other than this hire, they've done so much since Bill Polian has left to do everything they possibly can to not win football games that I think I'm almost over it. I'm to the point where I just want to find a team that actually wants to try to win year in and year out. And part of that is in the draft, which is why the Packers aren't really up there at the top of my list. They don't seem to really go after it in the draft. But honestly, I like the Packers. They're my NFC team because of family up there. But the team I'm considering.
Hey, wait.
What?
If you're really going to do a team switch, we can't just go into it like that. We need
you think I haven't screwed on this for months?
No, but what I'm saying is we need to do this right, and we need to get hats of the different teams you're considering, kind of like when college kids select where they're going to college, and we're going to throw the hats away, and you're going to put a hat on of the team.
I was about to give the list, so I'll at least let you hear the list here because I had typed it up. Coach and I have been talking, but my list of teams that I'm considering are the Denver Broncos, the Chargers, the Commanders, the Rams, and the 49ers, because these are teams that go out of their way to do their best to try to win on a regular basis. Even though they don't always necessarily win, they're at least trying, right? Like they try in the draft, they try in free agency, they spend money when they have it, they don't care about the cap. They hire good coaches, they fire good coaches when they do bad. Like they're doing all the right moves to try and win. So that's the list I have it narrowed down to. So if you don't want me to announce it yet, that's fine. I think I have all the hats somewhere. Anyway,
Okay.
we'll figure it out.
I think that would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, maybe
I think we have to throw out the Rams and the 49ers right now because you can't be a fan of either when they're both on your list of teams you like. Like you have to hate one or the other.
Please don't be a 49ers fan.
Well, here's the thing, though. So, but part of the reason why the Chargers and the Broncos are both on this list is because of the hatred I've grown for the Chiefs over the last couple of seasons. So that's part of it too. Like it's also my ability to root against certain teams as well, right? So that's all kind of in it too. So and I'm not at all a fan of Pistol Pete. So the fact that he went to the Raiders gives me another reason to put those two teams on that list. And it's part of the reason I've never really liked the Seahawks. So that's part of the reason why I have two different teams from the same division there as well. Like I don't know. Because
all right, we can get rid of the hat idea. It's obvious.
I still think that was a sweet idea.
Where you're going, you're making the transition from one horse to another. You're the Bo Nix guy. It all makes
huge on Bo Nix, and George knows that he's a great quarterback, and he doesn't want to admit him. But it's not official yet. I still got the Colts up here behind me, and I'm just highly considering it. And maybe I ride two horses for a season and see if one of them can win me over more than the other. But I feel like I've given the Colts one more season to show me that they're trying to win for the last 10 years, and I'm just not getting it. So, but anyway, enough about me. But I do like the Lou and Rumo hire.
I think it's awesome. It's 10 times better than Goof Bradley.
Yeah. That was all right. But again, Bradley doesn't take chances, and it's a very bland defensive scheme. But in Lou, we have 22 years of coaching in college, some offensive, but mostly defensive coaching, some assistant head coach, some special teams coaching. He's been in the NFL since 2011 as a DB coach and a defensive coordinator since 2019. Again, I kind of said all the rest of the stuff I had on here, but again, it's that defensive scheme. It's a little bit more complex, a little bit more aggressive, and hopefully they let him call the defensive plays. I don't see why they won't. With Steichen at the helm, he's he's more of an offensive mind, so we should be able to get Lou to call the defensive plays as well. So I definitely like the hire there. Unless you guys want to add more, we can move on to the Lions. That's obviously the big one here.
No, you're good there.
So the Lions offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, leaves Detroit to be the head coach for the Bears. Only 3 years in the college ranks at Boston College, but then 9 years in the NFL for the Dolphins and the Lions in 8 different coaching positions before finally becoming the Lions offensive coordinator for the past 2 seasons. Now he gets to be the next head coach to destroy all of his possible potential with the Chicago Bears. So he's going to join a long list of those coaches. And Nate, I know you have something to say about the Bears hires, but let me real quick explain who's coming in as well, and then you can just trash them all at once. We've got the Bears hiring new defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator, Dennis Allen and Declan Doyle. I think one of these is a pretty good hire, Allen. He only had one winning season in 6 seasons, and 2 of those were cut short because he got fired as a head coach. But his success as a defensive coordinator is what keeps getting him hired as a head coach. So I think that might be a pretty solid hire there at defensive coordinator. But Declan, 3 years as a student assistant at Iowa, 6 years in the NFL with the Saints as an offensive assistant, and then the Broncos as their tight ends coach. And then the last 2 seasons, the tight ends coach with the Broncos. That doesn't seem like that was really high point to put on your resume. But somehow that got him hired to be an offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears. But I guess it doesn't really take much to be an offensive coordinator for Chicago Bears. But all right, Nate, go ahead. Take it away, sir.
The first thing that I think is funny is how all of a sudden now Detroit fans are they're calling Osama Ben Johnson and stuff. Like they're just trashing the guy already, which it was expected, I guess. I think the Dennis Allen hire is probably a good one. I think they still have a couple more pieces to make. They have a good defense, but I think they need a little bit of help in the front end. The Doyle hire just seems like Ben Johnson was like, "Hey, I know this guy. We can pay him like $15 a game, and you can pay me more." And like I'm obviously calling all the plays and doing everything. I don't know. I know what I think, but I would assume it'll just sound like I'm a hater. Saying
that's
that I don't.
That's why I'm letting you go first. I want you to sound like a hater here.
I don't think a guy that's never been a head coach this is not an easy place to become a head coach. With the media the way it is, the way things have gone, and everybody, they got Ben Johnson. We're winning the Super Bowl. Well, probably not. Maybe try to be 500. It's been like 12 years since you've been 500. I know they beat the Packers at the end of the year. They're the only team in the NFC North that won a game in 2025. Big effing deal. You've been a poverty franchise basically my entire life. So, good. I think it'll be an exciting hire. But again, I know Jared Goff has looked really good with Ben Johnson's offense, but any one of us could look good with that offensive line. And he has the complete opposite of that in Chicago.
Which means the creative play calling is going to have to be on point week in and week out to give him a chance.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mark, anything to add to that?
I personally hate hires like this when you get a guy who's coming off a team with all the talent in the world, two of the best running backs in the league, one of the best offensive lines in the league, one of the premier top tight ends, one of the greatest receivers in the league, and you look at all the success that he had running that offense. Well, of course, I could call plays for that team and they would be successful. So I don't know. I think the Bears clearly don't have nearly as much talent as the Lions did on offense. And we'll see. They're going to lose Keenan Allen this year. He's already going somewhere else. They'll still have DJ Moore. They'll still have Caleb Williams, which we haven't seen anything from yet.
A lot of sacks. We've seen that.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean,
that's all I'm saying.
I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm just saying I don't think what he did in Detroit proves he's going to be a great head coach.
I told people the only guy I was worried about the Bears hiring as a Packers fan was Mike Vrabel. I thought he would be the one that could actually like turn things around, and bring a culture in that has some I don't know, I'm trying to think the right word, but like, if Ben Johnson tries to do the Motor City Dan Campbell thing, it probably won't work. It's like how Matt Patricia, when he showed up, tried to do the Bill Belichick thing. Well, that doesn't work because you're not Bill Belichick.
See, I feel like Vrabel's right in that same conversation with all of them and Dan Campbell. And I think we saw Dan Campbell not be so successful without really great coordinators. Like, I really think that most of Dan Campbell's success these last couple seasons were because of the coordinators. Like, I don't think that the Vrabel hire would have really helped them too much either if they don't get the coordinators to actually call the plays and run the teams. They just need somebody as a figurehead like Dan Campbell is to just organize it all. Like,
and that's what I think Vrabel will be good at. He's the chief figured out guy. Like he makes the decisions, but he's not running the offense. He's not, he'll help with defense obviously, but like
that's fair.
He's not, and I think
tight ends.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. But and ripping Sigs on the sideline and stuff. But like you need a guy like that. And right, we'll see what happens.
Hey, real quick before we move on to the next coach, I want to give a shout out to Dynasty Dog Mike. I wore my hat to remind me. He's down there in South Alabama right now, in Mobile, Alabama, at the Reese's Senior Bowl, and he's follow him on Twitter. As a matter of fact, of course, I'm going to say that and then not have it pulled up and ready to go, but he is at I shared a bunch of his stuff today. You would think I would have it. All right, I'm just going to have to. He
Dynasty
is
Dog Mike.
At Dynasty Dog Mike, just like, okay. So at Dynasty Dog Mike, follow him on Twitter. He's doing interviews down there starting tomorrow. Right now, he's got a bunch of film of players out there at the Senior Bowl, and he's typing up little quick excerpts of each one and what he thinks of each one of their performances down there. He's going to have an article on the website. That's toiletstitles.com here probably within the next week or so. I'm going to make sure he's got plenty of time to get that knocked out, because I'm pretty sure he's going to have a lot of good information on there, obviously. So, but reach out to him on Twitter and ask him any questions. Anybody particular that you want him to try to talk to at the Senior Bowl, he's going to have all access to almost every player. So he's going to try to interview as many as he can. So reach out to him and ask him whatever questions. But thank you again to Mike for all you're doing down there for us this week. We appreciate your hard work and your effort. Let's see. So the next coach we've got, I'm just going to go branch off of the Lions. We're going to go to the former Lions defensive coordinator. Aaron Glenn is now the new head coach for the Jets. He was drafted by and played for the Jets for the first 6 years of his 15-year career as a defensive back, 7 years in the NFL as an assistant defensive back coach and defensive back coach for the Browns and Saints. Let's see, Lions. He's been the Lions defensive coordinator for the last 4 years. They hired him, and he's quoted as saying, "We are built for this shit." And I think what he means by that is he's got a long, strong history with the Jets, and he knows their shit, and he's built for it. So I could be wrong on that. Maybe he thinks that he's going to turn them around. Maybe he's going to clean the shit. I don't know. I'm reading between the lines here. I don't know if I missed some part of that interview or not, but Aaron Glenn goes to the Jets, so he will be fired in the next year or two, and nobody will ever hear from him again, because he will be the new defensive coordinator for, I don't know, Maine University.
St. Louis Battlehawks.
2 seasons. So what's that?
He'll be the D coordinator for the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Oh, there you go. I always forgot there's other leagues too. And then the Lions' new offensive coordinator is former Broncos passing game assistant John Morton. Now, before you think, a passing game assistant, how is he an offensive coordinator? Well, he does have a little bit of a history with coaching here, in case you didn't know. He has coached back and forth between the NFL and college in 11 different positions, all offensive, on 9 different teams. He was an offensive coordinator formerly for USC back in 2009, 2010, and the Jets in 2017. Other than that, yeah, relatively a no name for the most part for most people, unless you dig really deep into teams. And then one more Lions thing here to hit on. They promoted from within. Linebacker coach Kelvin Shepard, former player, is now the new defensive coordinator for the Lions. He's been a linebacker he's been a linebacker coach since 2021 with the Lions. This is pretty much his only coaching, and now he's going to be a defensive coordinator just like that. So I think Dan Campbell's trying to start up his own coaching tree as quickly as he possibly can. But of those hires, any of those actually look good or feel good to any of you?
I'm also confused by what Aaron Glenn means. I don't know. We're built for this. What shit are we built for? But I like that. I don't know. I hope he does okay. He did. He coached pretty good defense. A lot of talent on the team, and they have talent in New York. We'll see what happens for offensive wise, but the defensive coordinator promotion that Kelvin Shepard reminds me of. What's the Ravens D coordinator? Zach Orr, whatever. That was like he was a player, and then all of a sudden he became the D coordinator. It kind of reminds me of that. But not as good of a linebacker.
You like any of these, Mark? It looks to me like the look on your face is like, why are we even talking about these guys?
Yeah. The two things I'm going to say about Aaron Glenn is, like you guys both mentioned, the built for this shit. No, they clearly weren't built for shit last year. They weren't built for anything last year. He should have said, now they're going to be built for this shit, maybe after he gets a hold of them. But again, none of this matters until they tell me if Aaron's gone or not. If Rodgers is still there, he's a lame duck coach, just like everybody else who's been in there.
I kind of feel bad that we've been ripping on him a little bit. So Aaron Glenn, we feel kind of bad that we read, and mostly to Jets and Jets fans. So here is a salute to you guys as an apology. Oh, I forgot to turn up the volume. Okay.
I think we're over on the year on that actually playing when we say we're going to salute somebody.
Always forget the volume, and not we. Don't be nice. It's me. I mess it up every time. But I appreciate you trying to take partial credit for my mistakes. Speaking of mistakes, the Cowboys hire ex Bears head coach Matt Eberflus as their defensive coordinator. Then ex-49ers defensive coordinator Nick Sorensen, he comes in as the new special teams coordinator just days after hiring career coordinator. Those are the words of your owner, Brian Schottenheimer, as the new head coach. So I feel like we're gonna have to flush another toilet here pretty soon. But Eberflus sucked as a head coach. I'm gonna agree 100% with everything that Nate has to say about Matt Eberflus. His hatred for Eberflus is probably greater than his love for Nick Chubb. So, and his love for Nick Chubb is in the theme song.
No way.
So yeah, it's oh really? All right.
Well, to be honest, I don't really hate Eberflus because he was such a bad coach. I didn't really ever get to hate him.
But he wasn't bad as a coordinator for the Colts from 2018 to 2021, and his performances as the Indy coordinator got him the head coaching job. Sorensen, 49ers defense is vastly underperformed this past season, forcing him to take a demotion to the special teams coordinator spot for the Cowboys. Brian Schottenheimer has been an offensive coordinator 5 times, and every time has resulted in either a demotion or a lateral move. This time he gets demoted from being the Cowboys offensive coordinator to their head coach. So he's getting demoted again. So yeah, it's not feeling good for the Cowboys. And in our Discord chat, for those of you that don't know, we do have a Discord chat perfectly free. You can join the Patreon also, patreon.com/toiletstitles. That will get you in the Patreon exclusive chat where you can ask us specific questions, tell us what you want to see on the show, and we'll get it on there, or even create a new show based off of your idea. We've done that before. But the Discord itself is free in general. You don't have to be a Patreon. And if you get in there, you'll see that we had conversations this week. And one of those conversations was us talking about what we got wrong as far as predictions this year. And I had said that I thought the Cowboys are going to not win the Super Bowl, make it to the Super Bowl. Obviously, I was very clearly wrong about my expectations for them. I underestimated their ability to be bad. So I apologize for that one. But now, after these hirings, I'm completely off of that wagon altogether. I don't care how much awesome talent they have. They're done. And until Jerry moves on, they're not going to be able to accomplish anything again. This has the feeling of the Colts with Jim Irsay. The only difference is I wasn't already a Cowboys fan, so it's easy to trash on them. But I feel the same way with the Colts. So once Jim Irsay's gone and we can move on, maybe. But until then, we're worried about building friendships. Anybody want to talk about the Cowboys hires?
Did you see what Jerry Jones said with Brian Schottenheimer sitting right next to him? I found the quote. I was looking for the quote. He said, "Without this being about me in any way, of course, not about Jerry in any way. Without this being about me in any way, if you don't think I can operate out of my comfort zone, you're so wrong. It's unbelievable. This is a big risk, as big of a risk as you can take. No head coaching experience."
Yeah. Yeah, and that's because
head coach sitting right there.
That's because one guy called into a radio show station probably when he happened to be listening and said, "Man, Jerry Jones never takes any risk when he hires a coach." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I got you,
Hold
Bill."
my beer. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shit show. Jerry's just looking for somebody he can control and will be a yes man. That's all it is.
We can continue the shit show with the Jets if you want. They hired a new GM, Darren Mogi. He's been the assistant GM for the last 3 years with the Broncos. So who knows? I don't know anything about that guy. But the Jets, speaking of the Jets, Robert Saleh, I know it's been a couple seasons, but since he's been with the Jets, but he's returning back to San Francisco as the defensive coordinator. Is back home and back in the position that made him a household name in the NFL. He was there back in 2017 to 2020. Expect big things with that defense because I don't think that what happened in New York had anything to do with him. He did not deserve to be fired. That's just the way things are with the Jets. He's going to have success again with San Francisco and bringing that defense back. So
I loved having him in Green Bay this season.
The 49ers are on my short list too, by the way. Obviously, I love Robert Saleh a lot, but
I absolutely hate this move. It's the worst move of the offseason because Robert Saleh is a great coach. And I don't want to see his defense. I don't want to see his defense next year. And you can't convince me the only reason Saleh got fired was because he didn't want to bring Devontae Adams in. That's the only reason he got fired. He didn't want to bring that big contract in, and Rodgers said, "See ya."
Yeah. Yep, it's very possible. Take the side of the guy that might be there for another year, maybe, or take the side of your coach that could potentially do good things if you can get him some talent. All right, Nate, anything to add there?
Like I said, I liked having Saleh in Green Bay. I just, he didn't really wasn't like a coach, but just kind of like, to help LaFleur. I think Saleh's awesome. I don't think I think he's better suited as a coordinator. And I think this, back home was good. Maybe it'll be like a Dan Quinn situation, but I don't think so. His game management just kind of seemed like he wasn't built to be a head coach. So
you didn't get to manage.
What?
You didn't get to manage.
Well,
whatever Rodgers wanted to do.
I know you hate Rodgers. It's fine, but it's whatever.
What I thought was weird though, because I obviously you guys see that I looked up the coaching history for a lot of these guys, and with Saleh, he was the offensive assistant, tight end offensive assistant for Michigan State his first year coaching way back in 2002, and then last year he was what they called an offensive consultant for the Packers in 2024. But other than that, it's been all defense. It's just kind of weird to me that they would hire him as an offensive. It's almost like that was the only job position they had available, and they were like, "Hey, just come on."
They called it an offensive consultant, but basically it was like, what did you see these teams do against your defense? Like is what it was. Like that they said it as an offensive consultant, basically so he could be with Matt, instead of like stepping on Halfley's toes because Halfley was new. They had him in there to be like, yeah, like what did you see when you played this team or whatever? That's basically all it was.
That makes sense. I got it. All right. I'm glad I asked. I just learned something today. Saints offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak going to Seattle to be the Seahawks' new offensive coordinator. Now, after the former offensive coordinator for the Seahawks was fired this past a few weeks ago, I was kind of happy about it because we haven't seen DK Metcalf and Geno Smith do anything for the last couple of seasons, especially this last season, because the new offensive coordinator changed up that offense so much and he didn't utilize them to their potential. Now, new offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak hasn't had a great career as an offensive coordinator with two other teams, and doesn't really offer me much hope to see that DK Metcalf and Geno Smith's going to come back to doing 2023 stuff. So I'm not excited about that Seahawks offense for next year for fantasy purposes. So
DK Metcalf coming to the NFC North.
Okay. So you probably not as a Packer though. They don't really go out and get free agents.
We got Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney.
Okay. 1 year, but before that, you used to complain all the time about how they never did anything.
No, I know that. I know that. But, I'm just saying that. It won't really happen.
Changed.
Clint Kubiak did come out the gate last year real hot, where the Saints win first 4 games by a ton of points, and then they didn't win, I don't think, ever again. But
he got all of his receivers killed is what he did. Maybe Derek Carr played a little into that, but yeah. I'd be a little nervous if I was DK.
Hey, random Saints question. Is Michael Thomas still on the team?
We can look it up.
He was kind of just complaining a lot and never played, and then all of a sudden, they just stopped talking about him. I know if they just got rid of him.
I know he was on the roster this past season.
I just didn't know if it was still ever going to be a thing again.
Speaking of Saints, we're still on the Saints here. So Kellen Moore is going to have a second interview with the Saints for that head coaching job. And I agree with you, Nate. I'm excited about this one too. What I had written down was he's the current offensive coordinator for the Eagles, and we see what he's doing there. That has made Sirianni finally look like a competent coach, or is calling the plays this season. But also, Saquon Barkley is there, and that's helping both of them look a lot better than they probably really are. But that Kellen Moore has a decent history as an offensive mind, and I think that could be helpful. But do we really want him to go to the Saints right now? If we want him to be successful, do we want him to go to the Saints right now?
I actually wanted him to go to Dallas because I hate Kellen Moore, probably top 5 hated guys in the NFL. I think he's terrible. I wanted him to go to Dallas because I wanted them to fall apart even more. I guess they did worse than Kellen Moore by getting Schottenheimer, but I think he is an idiot. Somebody told him, hey, you need to run the ball this year because you have Saquon. Because look what he did in San Diego. Sorry, LA. Terrible. Terrible in Dallas. Dak had better numbers with Mike McCarthy, even though McCarthy gets fired for no reason. But Kellen Moore's terrible. I hope he gets a head coaching job just so we can finally get him out of the NFL. He can go back to Boise State where he sucked too and be done with him.
Oh, man. I guess we have 2 different views on Kellen Moore.
I think he's terrible.
I do remember now how much you hated him, but I forgot about that. And you started acting like you were excited, so I thought we were on the same page.
I was excited to just trash him. Sorry.
Mark, where do you stand on Kellen Moore?
I think it's fine. I don't know. All right.
Okay, Goldilocks. It's just right.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right, fine. Bills offense coordinator Joe Brady is staying with Buffalo. He pulled out of the running for the head coach job for the Saints because he heard that his buddy Kellen Moore really wanted that job. So let's see. I think that's great for Buffalo. I think obviously they've got something going really well there, and you take away a couple really bad calls there. They're in the Super Bowl. We'll be saying that until Mahomes retires, though. Unfortunately, we've seen it before. Let's see.
What about staying? Did you see that? That's not on here. Cliff Kingsbury said today he's staying in Washington.
Oh, okay. No, I did not see that.
He was another, obviously head coaching candidate, and he said he's staying.
Yeah, that's good. I don't think I want to see him as a head coach. That wasn't fun. Some guys are just built to be coordinators.
Josh McDaniels. I know you hate him, but he was a very good coordinator and was a terrible coach.
Wade Phillips.
2 times.
Wade Phillips.
I don't hate Josh McDaniels as much anymore because the Colts were going to hire him as the head coach, and I didn't want him. And then he backed out on the plane. He just decided, you know what, screw this, I'm not going. And he got back on another plane and left. So that worked out great for us because I didn't want them to hire him. So I liked him more when he backed out.
I get that. Like I said, there's a lot of guys like that, though. I mean, it's just they're not built for the whole, like I said, to be the chief figure it out guy.
What about Wade Phillips?
Just another guy who is meant to be a coordinator.
Awesome coordinator.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Solid UFL coach, though. He's been doing good with the down in Texas.
I was thinking maybe you had breaking news on him for a second. That's why.
No. But I did want to talk about Joe Brady for a second and ask about his 15 modified tush push calls in the conference championship that didn't work a single time. Like, the point of a tush push is to immediately go forward and have somebody pushing you so you have the leverage. It doesn't work when you stop and shift to the left for a second and then try to go forward. How many times are they going to run that play?
Well, the announcer said at the very beginning of the game, before the first one, they said, watch for Josh Allen to go over the left guard because that's their form of the tush push, and it's been very successful all season. Well, then, obviously, the Chiefs watched game film because it didn't work the first time. It didn't work the second time. Now you try something new, and they did. That third time, they tried something new. They flipped it back to Cook, and he scored a touchdown. So then they go back to it a third time, and then a fourth time when the game is on the line. That's what I said in the Discord chat. I was like, if they do this damn tush push over the left guard one more time, I'm just convinced that they don't want to win. And they did it one more time. So they obviously did not want to win that football game. They knew they were going to get stopped, and they're like, let's do it anyway. So the fact that they actually got the first down and the refs took it away from them, ripped it away from them, because you can see it clear and obvious in one of the replays. They ripped that away from them. That's still on them. For one, you're playing the Chiefs, so you know that your yardsticks are 11 yards. Just in case, you got to make sure you go 11 just to be safe against the Chiefs. But on top of that, it's going to get stopped because it got stopped 3 previous times, and you're still running the damn play. So, you know what? The more I'm stewing on this, maybe it's not good for them that Joe Brady is still there, unless that was Josh Allen changing it up there in the huddle or something. But
I hope not 15 freaking times in a row.
Is that like a fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, I'm just an idiot or something kind of thing? Like we're gonna make it work. Like the Packers got their own little tush push, and basically they run Tucker Kraft in motion, and he just gets under center and hikes the ball, and then they get like 4 yards, and it worked. I didn't ever see it not work.
Yeah.
I mean, they were better off snapping the ball to Josh 5 yards behind the line and letting him figure it out than doing whatever the hell they were doing there.
Mark Andrews ran the damn tush push better than they did.
Speaking of tush push, Frankie Louvu diving over the line was awesome.
that was awesome. That was great. Let's see. Pete Carroll is the new head coach for the Raiders, and all I put in the comments was LOL.
Oh my god!
He's gonna love cruising the strip in them Air Monarchs, just being comfy as hell, chomping that gum. He's gonna be loving it. He's loving it. I can't wait to go to Vegas and see him.
We have to change. We have to change our theme song.
Look at this douche. Look at this douchebag. Look at him.
You probably really do hate Peter Carroll
because he's no longer in the NFC West. But
I still hate him. Can't stand him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he was actually wearing a top hat and a monocle in that, but
he was chewing that gum exactly like that,
just chomping the shit out of it.
Yeah, he did. He wasn't purposefully acting like the Monopoly man. It's just natural.
He's the guy like you see like at a function. He's just like, and you're there with your wife, and he's hitting on your wife in front of you. Like that's the kind of scumbag he is. Like he just knows it, doesn't care. That's what he's doing.
Like Urban.
Yeah. Oh well. Urban's doing a little more, but Peter's just chomping gum and saying, hey, yeah.
Speaking of Urban, the Jaguars. We've had nothing but great segues tonight. The Jaguars hire new head coach Liam Cohen. He was the Rams offensive coordinator in 2022. So, Mark, maybe you can comment a little better on him. And I know you got a follow-up comment on this. We talked about it a little bit before the show. The Bucs offensive coordinator this past season. To me, this guy seems like he could be a legit head coach. Mark, what do you want to say about him?
Yeah, I liked him. I thought he could be a legit head coach until I saw his press conference. The amount of stupid idiots that these guys have to do something to stand out in these press conferences. And instead of go talk about what you're going to do for the team, he gets up there with the rocks eyebrow and does the Duval.
He did sound like a dipshit.
It was moronic.
I mean, I don't know. He somehow got Shad Khan to fire Trent Baalke, which was like that was probably the issue the last 6 years he's been the GM. He is terrible too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, since we brought it up, we got to share that too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now listen closely in case I don't have the sound up.
Duval.
It sounds borderline creepy.
It does.
Oh.
All right. That's
so
about
that-
that.
When I heard that the first time, I thought it was AI. Like they were making fun of him. I'm like,
Yeah.
that wasn't real. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was real. I'm like, ooh, okay.
What
Yeah,
else could he have possibly been saying there? Only wrong answers. What could he have possibly been saying there other than Duval by going?
We lose.
I'm going to say the first thing I thought when I saw him say it. Trevor Lawrence is fucked. Excuse my language, but he is.
Tyreek says the "I'm out" comments in the last week, in the last regular season game there. Well, last game of the season for the Dolphins was just simply frustration. So, yeah, I mean, I feel you. You sold yourself out. You see your former team out there winning Super Bowls and championships and playoff games, and you got your bag, and you're losing with that bag of money. So, I mean, you sold your soul. Like, I mean, what can you say? You know, like I'd be frustrated too with the team, but at the same time, you got a lot of money, but you also got a lot of kids eating up all that money too. So who knows? Maybe that's why he's frustrated. Maybe he's like, you know what? If I was just going to be broke anyway, I may as well be winning rings.
He's tired of that guy, that mashed potato brain guy throwing him lazy fly balls. He wants like a real quarterback, I think.
Update on the playoffs here. So in the AFC Championship game, I had the Ravens beating the Chargers. LOL. And I had the Lions beating the Eagles. So I only had one of the final four teams correct. And I have no Super Bowl teams alive still. Mark, you had the Bills beating the Chiefs. At least you had both of those right. You had the Rams beating the Lions. So you also have nobody available. Nate, you had the Bills beating the Chiefs and the Packers beating the Rams. Again, LOL.
I had to be a homer, sorry.
So none of us have any dogs alive in this fight. And quite frankly, I hate both of the teams that are still in it. And I'm just not.
Full disclosure, I'm cheering for the Chiefs because I hate the Eagles that much.
I'm actually rooting for the Chiefs too.
I hate Sirianni and Kellen Moore and Philly and their fans so much that I can't do it. I cannot do it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not rooting for either team. I might be a little less pissed if the Chiefs win, just for the same reasons. But I mean, honestly, I can't stand Mahomes and Kelsey anymore. And it's not because of the Taylor Swift stuff. Like, I like Taylor Swift. I believe in what she believes in. Like, I'm you can call me a Swiftie if you want, even though I don't listen to music. But so it has nothing to do with the Taylor Swift stuff. It's just because of his attitude, his entitlement, and I don't know. He just irritates the piss. And that haircut. What's up with that haircut now?
I do love Andy Reid's mustache.
Well, that's I mean,
And Nick Bolton.
It's he takes Andy Reid takes sexy to another level. We all get that.
Mhm.
So that's our Super Bowl matchup. We'll have more of a Super Bowl show next week, and I'm not looking forward to it, but we'll talk about it. We'll do some prop bets, that sort of thing. Our normal kind of Super Bowl show. Maybe I can get a couple of guests to come on and give some predictions, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. There's a lot of people posting that they're just not excited about this Super Bowl. So I'm not sure, but maybe we can get some people to come on. But immediately after the Super Bowl, guys, we're going to be shifting gears into NFL draft. We're going to be doing some mock drafts. We're going to be looking more into college players coming into the NFL, getting on some guys that can talk about where they see players going, which teams, and that sort of stuff. So the offseason stuff is usually pretty fun for us. And Coach had most of those connections, but I kind of made connections with a lot of them too. So it'll be fun to get some fresh guests on here in the off season. But do you guys think we have time for the divisional round stuff, or do we want to?
Hey, did you see Chuck Pagano got hired? He's back in the NFL.
Where at?
Baltimore.
Oh, nice.
Senior secondary coach. I don't know what that means, but yeah, I saw that's good. I like that. Good for him.
Yeah, going back home, he had a long coaching stint with Buffalo, or I mean with Baltimore. So yeah, good for him. I like that. So the divisional stuff I was talking about is where we each drafted based off of division. So like we took the AFC East and NFC East, and we drafted our own little fantasy team. It was a best ball format, so however many points they score throughout the whole season, and the winner of each division got $20 from the other person. Do we want to do that, or do we want to save that for another week? Because I'm starting to think we only have 15 minutes here. I don't think. I mean, even if we went over a little bit, I don't know that that's going to be enough time now. I think we spent a lot more time talking about the coaches than I anticipated.
I think that'd be a good couple week after the Super Bowl thing when we're all depressed and counting down the days until the Battlehawks start.
Well, two of us are still going to be
how pissed off that NFC Championship game made me, because there's no doubt in my mind the Rams would be in the Super Bowl right now if we pulled off that game against the Eagles. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah. And you would have beaten the Eagles if not for that weather, especially in that first half. Yeah. Yeah. It definitely, that's a blow for sure. But I mean, at least your team was still in it.
I mean, at least my team held the Eagles to the least amount of points they scored the whole playoffs. So we just couldn't score any points.
Yeah, and that's and they played in a blizzard against the Rams.
Yeah, just a little too young. Probably won't happen next year either, but that's okay.
Well, at least you guys have a team. Oh, let's see. The Eliminator. I don't know if we ever gave the official winner of the Eliminator, the one and done Eliminator game that we did. Nate took it home. He beat me by 6 points on the course of the entire season. Nate beat me by 6 points. So, and then Mark was back there somewhere too.
Yeah, that game sucked. I don't know who came up with it.
I love that game. It was a lot of fun. I was ahead for most of the season. Nate took it away like the last couple weeks. Ran away with it.
That's fun. I didn't do worth a damn in anything else, but I did. So that made me feel good. I guess I did. I got second one league. By the way, remember at the beginning of the year we were talking about Scott Fishbowl? And I was like, I'm going to miss the playoffs this year. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I don't think I won 5 games.
Yeah.
So I think that's how it goes. I do really bad, and I did really good, and then this year I did really bad. So we'll see what next year brings.
I made it to round 2 in Scott Fish.
Nice.
So that's the highest I've made it in Scott Fish Bowl ever.
Injuries were the story of my fantasy season all across the board. Scott Fish Bowl, my home leagues, everywhere. My saving grace was I won a survivor pool, so that covered all my fantasy leagues.
Yeah. I did really well in my main home leagues. Won the Super Bowl in the main one, got second place in the other. Overall, I did pretty good. I got really fortunate in 2 of my leagues where I had Rashee Rice and he went down. I was able to pull a trade in 2 different leagues where I had Rashee Rice, and I ended up getting Puka after the injury happened. I pulled trades to get Puka to kind of replace him, and that really helped out a ton. But that's because I always draft really heavy running backs, and there were a lot of lower running backs that overperformed this year. So I had a lot of trade bait. So I was able to trade away those running backs, get Puka to replace Rice. And it's just like I could just keep going because that was after Puka's injury, or actually it was during Puka's injury. I had to go a week or 2 without, and then he came back and killed it for me then. But that's one of those strategies that have never failed for me. And I mean, I've been playing fantasy football for 16, 17 years now, but in the last probably 6 years, I've gone so running back heavy in every draft, and it's not failed. Like every single year in redraft, I do really well, and it's all because of how heavy I draft running back, and I don't give a shit about wide receivers. You're going to get them late. And it doesn't matter the format. PPR, you guys go fight for all those PPR points. I'm going to get PPR points with my running backs that catch the ball out of the backfield. That'll help make up for a lot of it.
I think one of my buddies started like another kind of home league with our friends this year, and I think my first 6 rounds I drafted running backs as a single quarterback. and I like high point in the league by a lot, and there's people like in the draft who are like, "Are you ever going to do anything else?" I was like, "No, none of these guys are still here." And then I got second in the Super Bowl because the guy I played had Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield, and you know how like they were up by like 40 and still throwing the ball, and it was like, "Cool, thanks, dude." So I hope that that dude in Duval, whatever his name is, I already forgot because I don't care about him. I hope they lose every single game next year because he kept scoring when they were up by 30.
Liam Cohen.
There you go.
Get
Thanks.
to know it. He's going to be a household name.
Yeah, whatever.
Have a picture on your wall. Just throw darts at it.
Yeah, exactly. It cost me a lot of money.
A video picture that says Duval.
Oh, God. So creepy. And he's fitting with Urban down there, creeping around on the yacht.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
even creepier is Justin keeps talking and his face hasn't moved for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it is freaking out a little bit.
Really good ventriloquist.
There you go. I can't wait for Canton this year to redeem myself at draft night out. I got stuck with the first pick overall, and I went CMC. And then I also had Cooper Kupp in the 3rd round, which I thought was a steal, but he got hurt early in the season. And just two of your top 3 players not playing for 6 weeks plus, yeah, it doesn't help.
Is Kupp still going to be a Ram next year?
I don't think. I don't know. I'm leaning towards no. The way they used him the rest of the season, I feel like they're going to let him go, and I feel like one of my favorite players is actually going to be the one to replace him. Which I love Kupp, and I would hate to see him go. But if Keenan Allen makes his way over, I'll be so angry.
I don't know, man. I think they did really good by going wide receiver by committee after Puka. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they know who they need to go after. The defense knows who they need to cover. They know who they need to go after if you have 2 top dogs. But if you've got a top dog and then you've got 2 or 3 other guys out there, you don't really know where that ball's going to go if it's not going to Puka. Like, I feel like – and you have really good offensive minds there on the coaching side. You got Matthew Stafford. He's probably still going to be there. So, like he can pick them apart. I mean, even when he was a Lion and had horrible players around him, he still found ways to win games against the Packers sometimes.
Yeah. The other question is Kyron Williams. They're talking about his contract.
He can't hold on to the damn football, that bum.
I know.
Yeah.
That hurt.
I don't care if he's scoring touchdowns every game. Can't hold on to the ball. He's not on my team.
He didn't fumble a lot, though. It's just
He
fumbled when it mattered.
quite a bit throughout the season.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't recall that.
He ended up like Hunter Renfrow. Where's he at? Gone. Too many fumbles.
I don't know. It's the Raiders. He might still be there.
Well, I take that back. He probably is. He's probably still there, but that doesn't count.
All right. Who? Okay, Michael Thomas.
Oh yeah, that's what we're asking where he is.
Got to look that one up. He is currently retired. He was not on the Saints this past year, and not officially retired. He's just unemployed right now.
He'll reappear in the UFL.
He was not on a roster at all last season. And then Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow also was not on a team last year. So he's hanging out with Michael Thomas on a beach somewhere. All right, guys. I think we can call it. Let's see. We have patreon.com/toilets-to-titles. There's a price list for every budget there. You can reach out to us. I'm pretty much solely on Blue Sky now, at Toilets to Titles on Blue Sky. You can catch Mark here at MT Simon on X, at Nate_Dirt19 also on X. The main show handle also pretty much only on Blue Sky anymore. I don't check the main account on X anymore, but it is at Toilets to Titles on both of those. But I did get on there a little bit today on X so that I could share Dynasty Dog Mike's info and stuff that he has on there as well. But yeah, mostly try to catch me on Blue Sky if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or if you want to reach out for guest opportunities. Because again, we're going to be looking for more guests to come in for to talk rookies coming up in the 2025 season and the NFL draft and that sort of stuff. Definitely going to try to get John Lobb on again. Going to reach out to my man Shane P. Hallam. Those kind of guys that are absolute gurus at this rookie stuff, and we'll have them on for sure. I'm certain of that, but probably try to reach out to a few more as well. But fellas, am I missing anything?
No.
All right. Well, for Mark, for Nate, I'm Justin. Thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate you. Have a great day.
The million podcasts out there. We're grateful you chose toilets and titles. We give fantasy football advice to get your crap team to the finals. From Nate's cousin Eddie persona and his unapologetic love for Chubb and Justin's hatred for Chris Ballard. Our show is as good as a belly bar.